Hey guys, welcome back to another lesson, and today, as you can see by the title, we'll be going over combining like terms. So what do you mean by combining like terms? Well, when combining like terms, you will be given expressions and trying to basically make them smaller, right? So the main thing to understand when combining like terms is a variable. Well, what is a variable? A variable is basically any type of constant or placeholder for a value, right? So like for example, if I had the variable, let's say x, right? Variable x. This is probably one of the most common variables you'll be seeing. Basically, it just stands for like a number, right? So let's go into an example using the same variable. What is x plus x, right? What is x plus x equal to? Well, when you see questions like these, and there's usually a number in front of each variable, right? Like for example, 3x plus 4x, right? Before example, we only see x plus x. So we don't see a number in front of the variable, right? And basically, if you don't know what the number in front of the variable means, it's basically a coefficient. That's what its name is, right? So let's just write that down real quick. Coefficient. Coefficient. So coefficient is basically any number or value located in the front of the variable. So for example, 3x plus 4x, right? So 3x plus 4x, right? The 3 and the 4 in front of these two x's are the coefficients because they are the numbers in front of the variables, right? So let's go back to our earlier example. Let's see here. X plus x. Let's move this over here so you can see everything. Okay, x plus x, right? So you don't see like any number like you saw in 3x plus 4x, right? In front of the variable, the coefficient, you don't see any coefficients. So what you can immediately do when you see this is you can immediately put a 1 in front of these because you only see one x, right? For the other ones, you see 3x plus 4x. So technically, for any variable that doesn't have a coefficient, immediately put a 1 in front of it so you know that it has 1. So after this, it's very simple. You know that you have two of the same variables, right? So just combine them. What is 1 plus 1? Well, that's 2, right? So 2, and then you just carry over the variable. So the answer would be 2x. So think of the variable as like a number, right? It's x plus x. It would be 2x. 1 plus 1 is 2. Okay? So now let's look at multivariables, right? When you have two or more variables, like let's say 2x plus 3x minus 4y plus 6y. So now you see that we have more than one variable. We have two variables. We have the variable x and we have the variable y. Well, in this case, what do? Do we combine both x and y to make xy? Well, no. For that, we'll be getting to in a later video. For that, you multiply and divide. But for our example, it's asking us to add and subtract. So what we should do is we should only combine our like terms. What are our like terms? Well, our like terms are 2x and 3x. So let's make a line over those two. So we have 2x, and then let's do like a cone for this. I have very bad drawing skills. Okay. Let's go back to this. Okay. So we have 2x plus 3x, right? You know what? Let me just get this. So the x's go with the x's and the y's go with the y's to make it a little easier to understand. Okay, so let's break this down. So we have 2x plus 3x, and then we have negative 4y, remember, because the coefficient is actually negative and the 4, plus 6y. So you just break them down into two different equations. Let's put an equal sign on both of these. And let's actually move this over here so you guys can see exactly what I'm doing. Alright, so let's solve each of these. Now we've broken them down into basically two different equations, right? And so we broke them down into things we can actually solve, right? So now let's do it. What is 2x plus 3x? Well, let's add the coefficients first. 2 plus 3 is 5. And then we just move the variable down, which is x. Let's do the same for the second one. But we have the variable y. That doesn't make a difference. It doesn't matter what variable you hold. I could put like the variable z if I wanted to, like anything, a, b, c, anything, right? And then, so let's do the same thing with this. But what is negative 4 plus 6? Well, that's 2, right? And then let's carry over the y. So now we have a 5x as our answer to equation 1, and then we have 2y for the second equation. So let's combine those. So in totality, we have 5x plus 2y. And that is our final answer. Alright? So now, after doing all of this, let's sum everything up. Let's make a quick summary question. Let's do one big question. Alright. Let's do 10x plus 14y plus 16z minus 3y plus 4x plus 12z. So I encourage you to do this on your own before we try to solve it. Alright, let's try to solve it now. Alright. So first let's make them, so let's first count how many variables we have in this equation. Well, I see we have an x, I see we have a y, and we have a z. So those are 3 different variables. So what do we need to do? Well, let's make 3 different equations, right? So let's first make an x equation. So we have a 10x, and then we also have another 4x. So make sure to check what the sign of the coefficient is, because we do have some negatives in this equation as well. But for our x's, we have no subtraction signs. So 10x plus 4x, right? So let me quickly try. Actually, I'm just not. Okay, so we have a 10x plus 4x. Let's put an equal sign. Then let's do our y's. So we have 14y. And then we also have a negative 3y, right? So minus 3y. That's equal to this. And lastly, we have our z equation. And our z equation has 16z and a 12z. So let's add these two up. Alright, so now we have 3 different equations. Let's solve these. They're very simple because we've already done a lot of these. So first, let's do our steps. Let's combine the coefficients. So for equation 1, that would be 10 plus 4, which is 14, and then carry over the x. Let's do the same for the next one. 14 minus 3, well, that's 11. Carry over the y. And lastly, 16 plus 12, well, that's 28. So 28, and then carry over the z. And so now let's make our final equation, or answer. And this would equal to 14x plus 11y plus 28c. And that is our final answer. So this concludes lesson 2, and I'll see you guys in the next video.